Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to make this DIY all the time tail keychain. And the things you're going to need are 2 rolls of yarn. Make sure they are 100% acrylic. That is crucial when it comes to straightening the yarn later. A hard surface. I am going to be using a cutting board, but you can use a notebook as well. A sewing needle. This is a variety pack, but you only need 1. A keychain clasp. A 6-inch roll of a chain. A pair of scissors. You're also going to need yarn. I don't have it photographed here, but you will need that later. A straightener and a dog brush. And make sure it is a dog brush. It does need all the sharp little bristles when it comes to combing the yarn later. We are first going to make the base of the tail, which is going to be a braid. Here I measure out about 12 inches, but later in the video you'll see that I overcompensated and made it way too long for my own liking, and I end up cutting it. So if you want to make it about 9 inches or so, or if you want 12, by all means that's fine. But once you have your measurement, you're just going to double it back and forth as I'm doing so in the video, just pulling it until you have gone back and forth about 12 times. And once you have all 12, you're just going to cut off all the ends until they're all individual fringes, and do the same to the other side as well. Now once you have 12 individual strands of yarn, we're going to go ahead and tie it at the top and just make a knot. And once you have your knot, you're just going to tighten it and guide it to the top of the yarn. Once you have it completely tied up to the top, we're just going to make a French braid. In the video you'll see I do tie it down to the table. It just makes it a little easier for me to braid it, to be quite honest with you. But if you don't need to tape it down, by all means, just braid it as a regular French braid. And then once you get to the end, you're going to leave a little extra fringe because we are going to comb that out later. And then with a separate piece of yarn, you're just going to tie it at the end. And there we have our base braid. Now once you have the base of the tail done, we're just going to start working on the fur. Now here you're just going to grab your second color, or the same color depending on the color you did choose, or the one color you did choose. And here you see that I do have a little guide string about 6 inches long. This is just going to make it a lot easier when it comes to measuring each string. You are going to need quite a few. I'm going to say about 200 individual 6-inch strands. Here, trust me, there aren't 200. I did have to go back and make some additional ones so I can fill up the tail. So once you have those individual strands done, you're going to grab 6 of them and we're going to tie a knot. So the easiest way to tie the knot was I just wrapped the yarn around my 2 fingers. Here I'm going to show you again. Just go ahead and wrap it around your 2 fingers and run the yarn right through the hole. Now once you have the knot, just guide it towards the middle. Again, you're just going to grab 6 individual strands and make a knot. Just wrap it around your 2 fingers, run it through the hole, and guide the knot to the middle. Now here is where you can see that I only have about 16, 20 maybe, but I actually need to go back and make an additional 10. And then I also had an additional white yarns off to the side, and those are about 5, and I didn't need to make any extra of those. Now you just want to grab the cutting board or your hard surface, and we're just going to start combing through each of the strands. Here I'm just doing one at a time just to show you exactly a basic of what it's going to start looking like, but you can do more than one. I would encourage you to do more than one at a time. It'll just make the process a lot faster. And when you are combing through them, make sure you do comb both the front and the back of it, just trying to comb through every little tangle in there. And it looks like a big fluff ball. Here I'm just grabbing about 3 or 4. Like I said, the more you grab, the faster it is and the better the process, to be quite honest, since it does take quite some time to brush through them. Now this is what it should look like once you have combed through all of these strands. It's just going to be a lot of fluff. And make sure you do comb through the braid as well. And just look at the amount of yarn we lost in the process. I was actually in shock by the amount of fur I had off to the side. Now next we will just straighten each strand. Here I'm just going to do one at a time just to show you what it's going to look like. But again, I encourage you to do multiple at a time just to speed up the process. And this is when I say it's important that you have 100% acrylic yarn, because in this step, if you didn't have 100% acrylic yarn, it'll either burn or break apart here, and then all that hard work was basically for nothing because you have to start all over with 100% acrylic yarn. Once every strand has been straightened, you're just going to comb it out once again. Now you can see such a difference, how it looks so smooth and soft and shiny, and just continue the same process through each strand, just combing out every single end. Once all of the strands have been combed out, we're just going to continue on to the next step, which will be sewing on all of the strands onto the base of the tail, which is the braid. Here I'm just showing you how I went about preparing the needle and my yarn together. If you are going to use the elastic yarn, I would advise making it fairly short. I did make it long, and I did have trouble when it would just tangle within another, and it just made it a lot more complicated when I tried to sew on these strands onto the tail. So once you have the yarn through the eye of the needle, on the opposite end you're just going to make a simple knot like we did before, which I just wrapped around 2 fingers, pulled it through, and made it tight. Next, just grab the base color of your yarn, which mine happens to be white, and pull the needle right through the knot of the yarn and pull it all the way till it hits the end of the knot. Here you can see I just had a little trouble since I made it so long. Once it's gone through the knot, you're just going to repeat the same process and run it through the knot once again just to secure it to the strand. Now once you have gone through the knot twice, you're just gonna grab your needle and grab the base of your tail and choose a spot at the end of it, and we're just gonna run it right through the base, and it'll attach the strand to the tail. This is the first method I am going to show you how to go about sewing the strands onto the tail. The second method happens to be my favorite, but I'd just rather show you a few options. So once the strand and the tail are attached to one another, you're just going to grab the strand and run the needle both through the knot and the base of the tail, like so. Just going to go ahead and pull it through. And then just grab another strand here and just do the same process of running the needle right through the knot. This time you're only going to do it once, and then it'll attach to the tail. Once it has attached to the tail, what you're going to do is grab your first knot that you attached, run the needle through the first knot, the tail, and the second knot. Sounds a little complicated, but it gets easier as you go along. So again, once your second strand is attached to the tail, you're just going to grab your entire tail and run the needle both through the first knot, the tail, and the second knot. And then just pull it through to secure it and continue the same process until you basically finish off your tail. Here is the step as to when you run out of your yarn. What you're just going to do is find the end of the loop of where your last knot was and just run the needle right through the loop of the yarn. It's kind of hard to tell since I am using white on white. I do apologize about that. I didn't think that part through. But again, once you run it through the loop of the yarn, then you're just going to repeat that step and run it right through the loop once again and just continue with your next set of yarn. Now this is the second method, the easier method in my opinion, where I'm just going to attach the strand to the braid wherever I want and then just run it through the knot twice like so. So again, you're just going to grab any strand, place it on the tail, and then run it through the knot twice. So here I just placed it on my braid. Now I'm just running the needle through the knot and the braid once, and then twice, and then just continue on with the next strand. Here I'm just showing you a little preview as to what the tail is going to look like once you do have it kind of started off and you fluff it out with the comb. And And this is where I'm also beginning to realize that this tail is pretty much a decent size for me already, and I overcompensated on having it 12 inches long. So I kind of just decided to cut off the end of it, which I didn't mind. I was a little scared thinking I was going to ruin it, but no, we are good to go. So if you did the same thing, don't worry about it. Just cut off the end and tie the end of it once again, and you're good to continue going. Now we're just gonna add the chain like I did here. That I just did off to the camera. I just attached it from the base of the tail and just added the chain and the clasp to the end of it. Now here I'm just going to show you once more. Once you have your new set of your yarn, just run it through the knot like we did the first time with the white one to secure it to the yarn, or we're just going to run it through the knot twice. So that's the first one. You're going to pull it through nice and tight, and then you're going to run it through the knot once again. You're just going to place the strand onto the tail wherever you want, and then just run it from both the knot and the braid twice. So again, once it's secured to the knot, you're just going to place the knot or the strand onto the tail. You're going to run it both through the knot and the base of the tail. Pull it through once just to place it there, and then you're going to go through the knot and the base of the tail once again just to make sure it's secured to the base of the tail. And again, you're just going to continue this process until you cover the base of the tail and there's no more white showing. Then you're just going to fluff it up and comb it through up to your liking. And here we have it, our beautiful tail keychain. I was so excited just to throw this on my backpack and just rock it the rest of the school year, or the rest of the semester. Actually, there isn't much left anyways. So this is basically your finished product here. I had just added the chain, fluffed it up, and combed it nice and fluffy, and just added to your backpack, your purse, or wherever you want. Or give it as a gift, that'd be cute too. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. If you have any ideas, anything you want me to do, just go ahead and leave them down below and I'll try my best to get to them. And just want to say thanks for watching and please subscribe.